The comic book jerk show was brought to you by SnapPal.com. Big old box of stuff. And what else is it brought to you? Oh yeah, Galaxy Wide.
This was a spontaneous one. Remember, we were like, fuck it, let's spoof this, and like we ran out and did it in like a day or something like that. We had like fucking like 2 fucking graduation hats on sticks because we didn't have extras, like right underneath camera, and like 1 actual person with a graduation cap.
Did you just watch Spaceballs and say I could do that?
I watched Spaceballs and I then said I could do that like pretty much fucking every day of my life. That's how I get out of bed in the morning.
What's up, guys? It's the Comic Book Jerk Show, and we're kicking it off, and we have 2 guests. We have got Brian Rosenthal here. What's up, Brian?
What's going on, Comic Book Jerk?
And we got Chris Frank. What's up, Chris?
What's going on, guys? Thanks for having me.
So what time is it, Justin?
It's time to kick that music.
Has it been kicked?
Yes, it's been kicked. I can still hear you, though.
This is the part where we're quiet.
Your keyboard. You're about to watch the
Unless you want to talk over his theme song.
We always talk over his
Aaron,
theme song now.
We do.
Part of the deal.
Are they hearing something right now?
They can hear us.
Probably.
Okay, so they're not hearing like this intro that I'm saying?
They can hear us talking and the intro music, believe me.
So we're fucking this up completely then, right?
It was already fucked.
But it's cool. It's live. We just gained 6 viewers from that.
So I guess the lesson is let's derail this whole thing as much as possible and we'll gain more viewers. So
the lesson is always we're gonna wing this and it's gonna be okay.
Until the stream completely drops out and everybody's like, "What the hell is these 4 idiots doing?" Now we tried to get Derek Russo in on this, but I guess we ended up with these 2 guys instead. You know what I'm saying?
actually, when you combine Chris and I, we formed Derek Russo. So
you formed Derek Russo. Here's a little clip of you guys right here. Let me go live with this one.
Oh no.
I've lost my transition here. It's all going to hell in a handbasket.
We made him hold that pose for about 8 hours.
Well, you gotta love that pretty face.
Who the hell is that?
You can call me Lobo.
There
Intergalactic badass, bounty hunter, space dolphin conservationist.
There's some clips.
At your service.
What? Why?
Yep, that's it. That's what I got there. See, I'm telling you, it is so hard. It is so hard to function all this stuff here because it's like I'm controlling Voltron right now, and like, which color do you want to be, Brian? Because I know there's a specific color that's like your favorite.
Me? I don't know. I mean, I'm wearing a red hat and a black shirt, so I mean, I'll flip you for it. I guess black. I'm like a black lion kind of guy. What can I say?
So tell us a little bit about.
I'm wearing a green shirt.
So tell us a little bit about WTFLOL and the stuff you guys been doing lately.
What have we been doing lately? Offending people mostly, apparently. We recently put out a skit skewering, I guess, social media's reaction to this whole Harambe the gorilla incident, and it did okay. Not as well as any of our fan films, but I think like 5 people watched it, so that's a win.
Yeah, it's always a win when like 5 people watch it. If 6 people watch it, like we have right now, we just hit 7 mark, so we are totally like live streaming like crazy. Chris, tell me
Holy
about
shit.
Tell me about some of your roles, dude.
Well, they originally brought me on to do stunt choreography when we did Marvel Zombies vs. Army of Darkness, and that's kind of how I met Sparky in the beginning. And then they were cool enough to let me go ahead and start doing little things here and there as far as like, bit parts and skits and get more involved. So I got to do the comic book nerd kind of thing in Slash Up, and that was a lot of fun. That was just like basically embracing my entire inner childhood. But being able to do stuff like this has always been really fun, and I'm stoked that they brought me on to start doing it with them.
So yeah, let's cut to a little clip. This is probably one of my favorite clips here that I'm about to show, just because it's basically like throwing, pretty much throwing his chick under the bridge. It's like you had to, the Sarah. it's like get behind me so you can die. Just like I meant to do that, but
That's the nerd's best moment in the film, I think, for sure.
That's my favorite. That's probably my favorite shot in the entire thing too.
The machete to the head.
Yeah, that part was a lot of fun. I mean, especially considering in between takes, we'd always we had an old school Nintendo hooked up to this like 1980s TV. We'd take shots playing Duck Hunt back and forth, and I don't want to brag too much, but champion, baby.
Yeah, no, it was a legit 80s weekend. We had fucking, like, I mean, the entire cabin was made up to be, like an 80s cabin with like all sorts of like bad 80s artwork everywhere, and we had a boombox there and fucking NES and just playing fucking old 8-bit Nintendo games the entire fucking time we were shooting between takes, like Chris was saying. It was a really fun shoot. Hard.
Sounds like my
fun.
Friday night.
A lot of Saved by the Bell neon in
Yeah.
the wardrobe department. That was pretty hilarious. I still can't believe you guys found that boombox though. The boombox was classic. I mean, like,
I don't even know where that came from, man, to be honest with you.
Everyone wants to talk about should Jason have won? Should the Terminator have shown up? I don't understand why more people aren't talking about Josh and how unbelievably ridiculous it was for him to be doing that dance by himself, with no music assisted. Like, he's ridiculous.
No. You hooked him up. What were you playing when? Because you actually came to the rescue with that.
Oh, God.
Was it Rick Astley?
Yes, it was. I pulled up "Never Gonna Give You Up" by Rick Astley on my phone, and
I was just fucking like grooving to it as he was with the fucking boombox.
We had one scene that we had to do together where he's like, "In your face," and Brian had to have gotten so pissed off at me because that scene took probably about like 45 takes, because Josh is so ridiculous that when you have him right next to your face, it's absolutely impossible to keep your composure at all. So he doesn't get nearly as much credit and recognition for that skit as that short film as he deserves. That's just my personal opinion on that.
Now I got another clip that I thought was really pretty cool from the Ash versus the DC Dead. It's a clip that starts off with the radio, actually. Let's take a look at that. Well, actually, that's not the right clip again.
So good, just play it twice.
Yeah, just play it a million times. Speaking of which, I'm going to play it one more time because I'm going to tell you something. I'm telling you, this character that you have in your universe,
Get behind me!
he's up to something, man. Look at him. He's just like, he's working with the enemy. Just like, yeah, he purposely put her behind him so that she could take the blade. Like, this isn't a face of fear. This is a face of, yeah, you my boy. You my boy. Hey.
Are you saying I put someone in front and I sacrifice someone else for my own self-interest? That's
Chris,
that's fairly accurate.
Well, watch.
The shot that we cut out of the film where you like turn really slyly towards Jason and give him one of these, with a
Get behind me!
Here it comes again.
That's it. That's a deleted scene.
We do have a deleted scene in this movie, and it's horrible.
I hate to sit here and watch this over and over again, though, because this is pretty funny.
I'm telling you, he needs his own spin-off where he plays all the characters at once.
No, he needs his own spin-off where he just gets everyone killed.
Some sort of multi-dimensional zombie apocalypse.
Like he actually just ends up being, it's like Tucker and Dale. He ends up being responsible for like everyone's death inadvertently.
Okay, this is before or after Mr. Space Biker guy showed up with his magic container box.
He's got mature.
I'm gonna go get in the TARDIS before
the other one took place in the 80s. This one takes place today, so it's like 15 years later.
I like this look at the end of
now that book, right?
What is wrong with you? Like, huh?
Well, I kind of threw someone in front of Jason Voorhees to save my life, so there's a lot of things wrong here, actually.
I'm so glad I got to do the finger guns in that.
The way I see it is
I forced the shit out of you on that.
The way I see it in your cinematic what the fuck universe you've got going on here, this character is like a watcher.
Get it right, it's the what the fuck of okay?
he's like the Watcher from the Marvel universe. He's in everything, but he's actually just catering to see all these dimensions. Really, he's not supposed to intertwine and interact with anybody. He's just supposed to be there. Well,
he's like I see him as like from Rick and Morty, like the Morty of the what the fuck verse, and like it's not even necessarily that each film takes place in the same universe. They're all parallel universes, so there's all parallel Rob the Nerds in all these parallel film universes that he occupies. So he's always there to kind of
almost like a Tarantino movie, like is he also Mr. Is he also the wolf? Like, is this guy his brother? Is Quentin Tarantino being the same guy? One of those. Like, we want you to think about it. Really, that's
the whole thing. Is we're trying to go deep with these, real deep.
You're missing a portal gun. That's the only thing that Rob the Nerd needs. Or is it Rob the Nerd or Rob the Geek? Does he have an official title, an official name now? Are we giving him one now?
What are labels, though? What are labels, really? I don't.
Nice.
He's Rick for now.
Does he have an official title? Yeah, he does. In the film, he was called Rob the Video Game Nerd. But I guess later on in life, he's like Rob the I gotta pay my fucking bills nerd.
I think that's all of us as we grow up.
Stubble. he's been through it all.
Yeah, dude, I don't know what it is, but Sparky absolutely hates my facial hair. That was one thing where it was just like I have this job for 4 years, and I had to be clean shaven at it every single time I went in. So when I finally left that place and was able to grow out facial hair, it was like the greatest thing to happen to me in half a decade. And once I finally grew it back, it was like, hey, we got this part for you we want you to do. I'm like, oh, cool, what is it? And you like explain the whole thing. I'm like, oh, man, it sounds awesome. He's like, yeah, it's great. And like everyone got higher pitched. And he's like, you got to shave. And I'm like, what? And so that kept it. I think we did Galaxy-wide. Didn't we do Galaxy-wide after, did we do it after Slash Up? I can't remember.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So finally, after Slash Up gets done, I finally get to grow my facial hair back again, and then we're gonna go ahead and do this other skit, and it's just like he hates my facial hair, man. I don't know what it is.
We always play you as like the young sort of nebbish type, So, facial hair doesn't work with that, man. It just clashes. It's got to go.
Yeah, I'm no Liam Neeson. I couldn't pull that that type of Jedi off.
Liam Neeson's.
Liam Neeson's. Hey Justin, it is time for Funko Pop of the Week, and I don't have my title card because I got too many images.
What did you just say to me?
I said Mother Funko Pop of the Week. That Mother Funko, and this week is the BAM exclusive Wonder Woman, which I don't know when it came out, but I ordered it. Apparently, didn't know that I ordered it, and it came in today. And
I can't see anything. Is she in the invisible jet?
Oh, you can't see it. Right?
No, maybe I can click on. Oh, I can click on this shit. No fucking shit.
It is.
That's how a computer works.
Yeah. See, this one is.
Yeah,
it's the actual. I guess Batman versus Superman one. It's let's see. I think I have another one here. Oh, yeah, right here. Watch me knock a whole shelf down live on the air. It's basically like this one, but
this is a grown man crying.
See, basically, in order to make this one, they had to have somebody shit on this one. See, that's actually shit stained Wonder Woman. It's very exclusive, man. It takes a lot of shit.
Isn't she just like clay form or something?
I don't know, man. It's something with a P, but who knows? It's more like
announced the Doomsday Pop too.
Chris, you were showing off yours. You might as well show off some of your Funkos, since
I don't have a whole ton. I'm not as good with keeping them all nice like you guys are. But this is a Batman special edition that I got at a Comic-Con probably about like 2 years ago, and I haven't seen one like it yet, where just basically the chest and the stomach area, like it's kind of a little bit more defined of a suit.
They put some abs on his ass.
yeah, Funko abs. And then I got little Dwayne Wade here. I'm a huge basketball fan, huge Heat fan.
I got one.
Justin's got one. What you got, Justin?
Traitor.
Oh my God.
Nice.
Yes. This is actually, I already said, if I ever join the 501st, this is the trooper I want to make, the Riot Trooper.
You gotta get that prop too, though. You know?
Oh no, that is absolutely the plan, and I've already been researching and looking up and designing how to make one of those just for the hell of it. That's
you know where they got you know where they got the inspiration for that from, right? Minority Report, the Sonic shotgun when Tom Cruise is in the Lexus assembly factory. And one of the guys is using this sonic shotgun that sends out these sonic waves when it fires. And to reload it, it spins on itself. So he goes like this, and it rotates on itself. Same design as that baton in the film. I was like, oh, shit, I've seen that before. So, I don't know. I'm just trying to say
that's actually really cool. That's a really cool fact.
Since you brought up Minority Report, that's a good time to segue into these remakes and reboots, considering that they tried to do a Minority Report TV show. You know you love that show.
Did they try? I didn't even. I heard about it.
Oh wait, that's Total Recall.
That one hurt.
Do you remember how great this movie was when it came out? I mean, Colin.
It's still fucking awesome.
Actually, I was watching Ted 2. I was watching Ted 2 last night, and finally for the first time, and they get into, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but they get into a huge fight inside of a comic book convention, and one of the girls I think it was Flash Gordon grabbed onto, he grabbed her blouse and pulled it down, and she was the 3-boob chick from Total Recall. I thought that was hilarious.
What? I don't remember that part.
Yeah,
I couldn't get past Ted 2. I got halfway through it and I was like, this sucks. This is not as good as the first one. I'm out.
I enjoyed it. I wasn't too harsh on it.
Yeah, it's an okay way to pass the time. Like if you got the flu, you know, it definitely beats watching G.I. Joe.
Isn't that weird how there's like an entire category of movies that just go like in like late night or flu?
Oh yeah. And I'm sure we've got a few of them here. So bring up one of the remakes or reboots that we were talking about earlier. Let's see if we could find that thing.
Who wants to jump on this one?
Yeah, who wants to jump on the reboot, remake, whatever you want to call it?
All right, I'll tell you what. I'll throw one out there because I think it's going to be relatively neutrally received. The RoboCop reboot. I enjoyed it. I think they changed a couple things that they really didn't need to. I know they got to keep it fresh, but I thought that was a pretty decent reboot. It's hard to find one that I like, but I guess we'll get to that at some point.
I would agree. I think that I'm pretty neutral on it. Like, I mean, it's like you go in and you don't want it to be the same thing, but at the same time you do. And I think that's with every reboot I watch. It's like, oh, I want this to be the same exact thing, but why would I do that when I could just go home and watch it? So, I mean, it's like, that's the dilemma I face with every reboot.
Right. Well, there's a minimum expectation, though. I mean, you're expecting for the spirit of the original film to carry over to the reboot. You know, things don't have to be one-to-one, and it's always fun when things are mixed up and, you know, flipped and flopped from what they were in the originals. But you're looking for a similar feeling. you know, when you leave the theater as the original. And I think that's what a lot of these reboots are forgetting, is to honor the tone of the originals and how they made people feel, you know?
The problem with Hollywood is the problem is, like, a lot of them face the dilemma. Do we make this the same thing and then everyone criticizes us for just copying the original, or do we go a completely different path and everyone hates us because it's not like the original? So then they're all trying to find their middle ground, and some of them do it better than others.
It's true. It's true. I mean, but you know, at the same time, you know, fuck it. Somebody else talk.
Well, I mean, if you look at it, like, it seemed like it was going to be a good idea, because I liked the costume. I thought the costume was, like, updated and looked cool. And I was like, what about the original costume? I liked it too. So they did kind of work the original looking costume into the movie. They did. But whenever you see what happened to him before he went to the suit and he's just a floating head, that floating head thing was like you took too much of his body, like lose an arm or a leg, but then you just got a floating head pretty much tied to, you know,
well, I mean,
or something.
In all fairness to them, I mean, in the original film, that was the idea behind the concept, was that, you know, basically it was just his part of his eyes, his brain, part of his spinal column, and his heart and a couple of organs. That's it. Even his face was meant to be a reproduction of the death mask of Alex Murphy. So they kind of they stuck to that in a sense, which I liked. The problem is, whereas the original had a very clear tone and I guess goal, where it was satirizing big business, and it was, you know, sort of, I guess, the whole Reaganomics thing. It knew what it was making fun of, and it stuck to that, and it drilled it real hard. And with the new RoboCop,
PG-13 a lot. It felt like the new one did. It felt like it was like, let's try to take it to PG-13.
It was very neutered. It didn't know what it wanted to be. It didn't necessarily land on any of the issues or debates that it presented on, you know, in either side of the court. So it didn't really have any balls. And the action, frankly, was fucking garbage. You know, like, you know, I don't need like blood and guts in my action films. I understand that modern audiences aren't used to that anymore. But you can still do badass action without like sucking when you have that much money. I'm sorry.
The training sequence was the best fight sequence in that whole movie. Honestly,
90%
the action sequences, the action sequences in the movie, like it definitely had its hits. But one of the things that kind of struck me a little bit is how they changed the totally changed the dynamic of
Michael
Murphy
Keaton
being a cop who. Murphy becomes RoboCop, but isn't able to remember anything, and he's more like a robot. Whereas in this movie, you know, he's completely lucid, like he pretty much remembers everything. And then it gets to a point where they have to turn him into the RoboCop that, you know, the original RoboCop was when he came. You know, so he like turned into like the robot after the fact.
We just got a comment on the live feed that said, "What about that Samuel L. Jackson though as Bill O'Reilly?" So yeah, I completely forgot about Samuel L. Jackson in the movie. Like anything Samuel he's in, just kind of like
fantastic in the movie.
He is, but like I forgot all about him, man. Like I was too concerned about all the other crap, and then I think back, yeah, he played about the same character he's played in about everything else.
It had a big problem in terms of staying consistent as well. Like, you know, I without getting too nitpicky and turning this into a review of the RoboCop remake, I mean, the Michael Keaton character very quickly turns from a, you know, kind of neutral character that just is what he is to a villain by the very end. Like and it happens in like one scene. It's like, oh, I'm not a bad guy, and then literally the next scene, it's like, I must kill RoboCop. You know, and it's.
Another problem I had too is when RoboCop was more machine than man, you know, mentally. The thing that switched him back on to being Alex Murphy again was an event that happened just like that. It had no development whatsoever, and it seemed kind of forced. So I know that
How did it even happen? Do you remember?
He was on the motorcycle, and then all of a sudden he decided to turn around or something. It was that forgettable.
Yeah.
You know, so that was a little bit of a problem. I know that production was plagued by reshoots, and they changed the script up a couple times. You know, so I'm sure that went into it. But Hollywood has this thing nowadays where they want to get it out. They want it to be an hour and 30 minutes, and they don't let the director do what it is. Like I don't feel like we got to see
what they're hired to do. Yep.
Yeah, I don't feel like we got to see what the final vision of the actual movie was because
I agree with you.
Producers stepped in and.
When trying to compose this list, you would not even believe how many of these remakes were based off 80s films. Like the entire list that I came up with was like remakes of like 84 movies, like Karate Kid, Nightmare on Elm Street. There was Red Dawn and Footloose.
All the stuff when we were kids. Yep.
Yeah, basically everything from 84, even like right down to Miami Vice and Fright Night and stuff like that, man. I was like, all these...
The Fright Night remake, from what I remember, the Fright Nights remake wasn't terrible.
God, why did
I think it had Anton Yelchin in it.
Work? Why? Why? He's in 2 of the movies we've talked about already. Why does he keep getting this kind of work? Like, you know who would work in Miami Vice? Like Colin Farrell. It's like, oh, I never thought of that. Like, oh, maybe because it's an awful idea.
He would love to reboot that movie. Let's let him reboot it. But man,
I don't think he's that bad. I actually kind of like him.
Dude, 7 Psychopaths, absolute awesome movie. You know, like Colin Farrell's been in some good stuff or whatnot, but it seems like every time they grab him for this, it absolutely slaughters the movie. I mean, like Total Recall, really, you wanted that? Well, you got it. And with Colin Farrell, like,
I don't think nobody
Total
wanted
Recall.
that.
Let's talk about that.
Nobody wanted
Nobody
that.
did. I saw Total Recall coming out, and that was one of the first Arnold Schwarzenegger movies my dad introduced me to when I was a kid, and I love that movie. So then I was like, oh, cool, Total Recall, and then I thought about it, and I'm like, oh no, Total Recall, no, this is not good. The more I read into it, the more I was just like, this is going to be as bad as I expect it to be.
There's a rule, and it's already been made. It's clearly been made, and that rule is do not remake Paul Verhoeven films. It's real simple. Don't do it.
It's happening again, too.
Yeah, they're remaking Starship Troopers.
Oh, God. Oh,
well,
man,
I heard they're
like
remaking
that.
Commando, if you're speaking of Schwarzenegger movies. Like, why? Why did I didn't want the first one? And you're gonna that was supposed to be Sylvester Stallone's role, and then it turned into Schwarzenegger's. It's like
they kind of remade Kindergarten Cop. They got Kindergarten Cop 2 direct to Netflix.
That's on Netflix.
No, it was direct to Netflix. I don't even think I heard about it in theater.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's Netflix.
It's terrible.
Get out.
It's Dolph Lundgren, right?
Yes.
Came out.
Kindergarten Cop 2 was a direct to DVD Netflix movie.
Yeah, no, I know it exists. I just didn't know that it came out already.
Yeah, it came out, and it was so bad that nobody even knows that it's came out yet.
I didn't even know until I was just browsing through, I didn't even know it was out until I was just browsing through recently at it, and I'm like, oh, Kindergarten Cop 2.
Oh, I've seen the trailer when they first announced it, and I was pissed. I was like, no. No, I was like, if he says, who is your daddy, and what do you do? I'm out. I was out.
I was flipping through TV. I was flipping through the guide and everything, and I saw Kindergarten Cop 2, and I didn't even know it even existed. And I literally thought to myself, I'm like, if they got someone like Dolph Lundgren for this movie, I swear to God. And then sure enough, I see the info button. I'm like, man, I could be a producer, I guess.
You could have made it happen.
It pretty much the exact opposite of what you think a good decision would be, and that's how you produce.
Oh man, just stay away from the cult stuff. Stay away from the Starship Troopers and Point Break and these movies that are just you
Perfect
can't
the way they are.
Yeah, really. I mean, I know Universal Soldier is going to get rebooted at some point since we're talking about it. No, I don't have evidence of that happening, but I'm telling you right now, give it 5 years and we'll be talking about it. Like the next big martial artist that comes up through Hollywood.
There's going to be a new Bloodsport as soon as that happens. I'm surprised there hasn't been. I am surprised there has not been a new Bloodsport with someone like Ronda Rousey, to be honest with you.
Well, they're doing another kickboxer, aren't they, with Van Damme playing?
Nobody gives a fuck about kickboxer.
Rousey's going to be in the new Roadhouse. They're rebooting Roadhouse.
Quit rebooting
Roadhouse.
With Ronda Rousey?
Oh, there you go. See? Boom.
Well, let's get her facts straight.
Is
it going to be
producing it? I think
we got to get it straight for the audience. Though there's remakes and reboots. Reboots launch franchises. Remakes fizzle out and die.
Can we just agree to rebrand all reboots from now on to reboots?
Reboots.
You know, yes, reboots.
Oh,
Yes.
they're making a MacGyver series. It's coming out.
Nobody
I think
cares
this
about
fall.
that. They care about that just as much as they care about that.
Lethal Weapon
yeah.
series.
Yeah, it was slipping my mind.
Although the Lethal Weapon, I'll tell you what though, the Lethal Weapon trailer didn't look half bad.
No,
it's got like a 2% chance of being okay.
Yeah, but
I
the
watched
Sarah
half
Connor
an episode
Chronicles
of.
didn't look bad.
I like that. I like that. I'm a big Terminator fan, and I like the Sarah Connor Chronicles.
I did too, and I was pissed when they canceled it.
Yeah, like biggest cliffhanger, and they're like, fuck you. The fucking writer strike is over. We're putting real shows back on TV, and you're like, what? I've been watching for 2 years, you piece of shit.
It's like
exactly.
It's
My
like
dad
Terminator
and I
2.5, The Ride. Does that even
You
exist
could see
anymore?
that
Do they still
Sarah
do
Connor
that?
in Game of Thrones. You got caught up on it. Yeah.
What's that?
Terminators. Let's all talk about movies.
Lena Headey or Headey, Lena Headey, whatever. What's it called, the chick who played Sarah Connor.
Yeah.
She's Cersei Lannister, so you could get your fill of her if you decide to go ahead and catch up on the rest of Game of Thrones, like everybody else.
Right? Yeah. There is that. There's that. I am.
If it wasn't for you and Justin over here, we'd be talking about Game of Thrones. Me and Chris would
I'm
just
2
be
seasons
killing it.
behind.
We'd
Sorry,
be like,
guys.
Man, that battle.
sorry.
Did you see that battle? And then no more spoilers. That's it. I cut it off right there. No spoilers.
The only spoiler, there's no spoiler I want to say for it, but I will say that was the best hour of scripted television I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
was.
that's it.
It put anything that The Sopranos did to shame. Like I just wow.
We're not talking about it no more, Brian. You can put your headset back on. We're good.
You're good. You're good. You're good.
We're good.
I just need to know if Tyrion's still alive. That's all.
Yeah, it's
Nah,
fine.
I'm not even telling.
No, I could do like people did me for the entire 3 seasons of Walking Dead because I didn't watch it. They would say Glenn died. Every single episode that I would miss, I would come into work and they'd be like, "Man, did you see Glenn died last night?" And I'd be like, "No way!" And I'd be all pissed off for 10 hours of work, go home and watch it, and be like, "I thought he was supposed to die, man." And then I get a text message one night and they're like, "Man, Glenn died, man. He went under a trash can and didn't come out." And I was like, "You're full of shit." And watching it, I was like, "Glenn's dead." So I believed it, man. I was like, it's like, yep, next episode, he's back. I was like, they did just go ahead and kill him.
Walking Dead are geniuses at getting people roped back into the episodes, dude.
No, they're lazy.
I gave up season 2.
They're
to be honest with you.
They
not
totally
like the
dropped off,
Flash.
but they're really good at hooking in people who only want to see gore and just see how many people die and get killed off. They're good at roping those people back in.
That only goes so
Talking
far.
about Walking Dead?
Yeah,
I thought we were still talking about Game of Thrones.
it's the
Yeah,
same.
Walking Dead.
It's the same show, but on a different network. And one
Zombies.
has zombies and one has frozen dead people, which they call White Walkers because they can't use the term zombies for some reason, probably.
One of the guys also has complete, the majority control over how this show's scripted, and the other guy just said, "Fuck it, I'll take my money."
Yeah.
You can guess which one is that is.
So here I've got you another one to talk about here. Straight from the 80s,
Lord.
we have the Karate Kid. Now, I don't hate this movie, but I don't like
I don't hate it either.
I don't like it, but I don't hate it. And
I like it better than the third Karate Kid movie.
Well, see, I'm still... Yeah, I'll have to agree with you there.
The one with Hilary Swank.
I don't know
And Michael
what was going on
Ironside.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, then again, if you put Michael Ironside in anything, I'm there right away. So
Yeah.
doubly so for Hilary Swank.
He was in Top Gun.
So, yeah,
Zombie.
that's about all we can say about Karate Kid. We don't like it, we don't hate it, and I don't know if you guys know
It's
this.
right. It's right in the middle. It's pretty much just like RoboCop. It like skates by not pissing people off too
they're
much.
still planning, even to this day, to do Karate Kid 2 and bring both of them back. I don't know why they are waiting so long, because it's clearly a great cash-in. I'd pay to see it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I don't. So.
Wow. I
love Jackie Chan, but I mean, like I said, I didn't hate it too much. I just, it definitely wasn't great. This was good.
this was a good
I
remake.
love this movie.
I do have
I haven't
Yes.
seen this, but just looking at who's in this movie, I would totally see this.
Dude,
it
I'm
was great.
telling you, if you don't watch westerns, or you do, either way, this is a perfect film. And it's weird because so much of this film plays right off of the original. So I mean, it's some parts are scene by scene in a way that it feels like you're watching an updated version with better camera quality and better picture quality, better sound. But I mean, overall, man, like perfect casting, great storyline. Like this is one of those remakes that we definitely needed, that I could definitely rally behind, because when I first seen it, I wasn't expecting it to go the dark route towards the end like the original. And we'll go ahead and spoil it. Girl gets bit by a snake, loses a body part. But yeah, that happened in the original too. But I mean, they pull it off, and it's great. It's a great movie.
I can't remember who directed it, but I want to say I think it had like a really solid director behind the project.
Won a few Oscars, I think, too.
Written for the screen and directed by Joel and Ethan Coen. So
well,
the Coen
there
brothers
you go.
Got a hold of that.
Coen brothers.
Yep. That's why it was good. Yeah, there you go. The Coen brothers.
Definitely.
I think there are some kind of loose rules for reboots that if you follow, you can generally make a good film by. But everybody's kind of more concerned with, can we make money, not can we make a good movie. That's not really the first thought. So when that's the driving motivation, you can forget about seeing a good film.
Which segues us into Fantastic Four.
Oh man!
Which one? 1994 or?
Are we really gonna go there?
Well, I mean, he did say when you become a lot more concerned with making money than making a good film, crappy films are made. Fox.
Yeah, Fantastic Four fell into that category. You kind of knew it was going to be a dumpster fire before it even comes out. I mean, if the director 2 days before the movie comes out is like, you could see it, you don't have to see it, whatever. That's kind of damning to the franchise. I've seen maybe 20 minutes of this movie, and I couldn't stay in it. I couldn't stay in it at all. I mean, that's one of those movies you can tell that there was way too much changed. And like you can say that with Ant-Man a little bit too. Like if you watch Ant-Man, there's a lot of stuff that you could tell is forced in there by the studio, and it kind of sucks when stuff like that happens, because when a director takes on a project like that, you kind of want to see the director's vision all the way to fruition, like what we were talking about earlier with RoboCop. And I think this is the same thing that happened to Batman versus Superman. Sparky and I were actually talking about this earlier, where 2 hours and 30 minutes feels kind of disjointed.
It feels like there's a lot missing. Now, whether or not in that particular case what's missing was shot is another story entirely.
Well,
We'll find out very soon.
Yeah, with the Ultimate Edition coming out, there's like an extra 32 minutes. But I mean,
hopefully they're not all slow motion.
Well, they all said that
30 minutes of...
There was somewhere I read that Zack Snyder said the original script would have been close to 4 hours. So I would pay if you published the 4-hour script to read that.
Oh, totally, dude! So. I would pay more to see that. Like if a normal movie ticket is like $10, and you're telling me I'm gonna get a 4-hour version of the movie that I've wanted to see as a nerd for my entire life, I would totally pay like $20. I would pay twice as much to get twice as much.
There are some people that are going to do that, but you got to remember, I mean, it's not the 1960s, 50s, 40s, or whatever, where they would have an intermission in a film.
What they need to do with these films is just take them off of the scripts, put them on the pages of comic books, and sell them digitally. Like, whenever I seen the concept art for Batman 89, like, I thought this would be an incredible series run. People would buy that, dude. I would in a heartbeat go and buy Batman 89, the comic book, to read what Tim Burton's Batman 3 was supposed to be like, or to see Marlon Wayans as Robin and stuff like that, man. Like, that's what I wanted to see. Like, whenever Batman Forever came out, I was kind of just, like, lost. Like, what is going on here?
Yeah, but you want to see it continue in the medium that it's in, like it's almost like with Buffy. Like, I was cards out on the table, I was a huge Buffy nerd, and the whole Whedonverse and everything, and I don't even know where I was going with that. I had a point. It just
you just wanted to talk about Buffy the Vampire
Slayer. I do.
Were you going to spin off to talk about how
Freddie
Angel
Prinze,
didn't really...
I mean, He's
pay
not
much
fat.
attention.
He's not hairy. He doesn't have what I have.
Yeah, I really wish that the studios would stop getting like I know they're in business to make money, it's obvious, but we just reached a point where the art kind of suffers for it, and I mean that's why Tim Burton didn't end up doing the third Batman, because of the fact that he wasn't going to be able to get his vision to where he wanted it to be. I mean, he had to make a lot of compromises in the first one and the second one. I mean, and as bad as Batman Forever was. Oh no, I love the second one. He did have to make some compromises in it, but with Batman Forever, that it had potential. With Jim Carrey I thought was an awesome choice for the Riddler. Tommy Lee Jones did a pretty good job as Two-Face, and it's just that was it. I mean, outside of those guys, the only saving grace of that movie is The Offspring being on the sound. It had a great soundtrack. It had an amazing soundtrack.
I can tell you exactly why those movies were the way they were, is because just like everything else with Hollywood, like right now with Batman versus Superman, oh, it was too dark. Now the reaction is go much lighter. It was the same thing back then, actually, if you remember, because Batman Returns. Yeah, when Batman Returns came out, I mean, it was, parents were appalled. They were, they were blown out of their minds. Like they couldn't believe what was being marketed to their kids in terms of how dark and how much violence there was in Batman Returns, and like there's a serious flashback on the studios. So then when Batman Returns, Batman Forever happened, the studios were like, all right, listen, Joel Schumacher, last time it didn't work. Burton went really dark. Go much lighter. Give us MTV. Give us neon lighting. Do not scare the children, please. We need to sell toys.
Dark. It's supposed to be dark. That's what Batman's about. Don't. Right. If you don't want to do it the right way, then just don't do it at all. I don't understand why you would even tackle something like that. I mean, we have so many of these like comic book movies, have stayed in PG-13. I mean, I thank God for Deadpool to come along and be one of the first movies I can remember that I've seen. Like, I'm 33 years old. I can't even tell you before Deadpool the last time I got to see an R-rated movie, because studios are too terrified to put out something rating on it. But I never saw it. I never saw it. They have tried.
Blade, The Punisher. Those were pretty dark. They weren't marketed to kids. I don't even think you could market The Punisher to kids still. I think, but
they tried with
Snyder.
I think a lot.
Yeah, well, true.
When I interviewed Val Kilmer in Chicago, he talked about the movie a lot, dude. He said that what he thought he was making was a movie like Christian Bale's Batman. Like, he thought he was doing a darker version of the movie. Now, if you go online, there's fan edits of the original movie that cuts a lot of the darker tone scenes, and I think it's called like Batman Forever Red Book Edition or something like that. And it cuts a lot of like darker stuff in it, like a giant bat that comes at him in a cave and stuff like that. I mean, it's
another movie that got interfered by the studio.
Yeah, they need more toys. They need those toys quick.
But it goes back to what we were saying. It's the studio gets in the middle of the director, and then these movies suffer. I mean, F4, I know I read multiple articles about the directors and the actors saying, yeah, the studio came in and totally cut out like a giant portion of the script, or made it reshoot. Rogue One just went into a reshoot for Star Wars. I mean,
reshoots are a normal part of most movies, especially larger budget films. There's like a huge chunk of the budget set aside for going back and reshooting, changing certain things.
But the thing was to change the tone, is what I read, and so that makes me think you're making a movie about a suicide mission, and you want to make this for kids.
Specifically, to touch on that specifically, I do not buy that they went back to reshoot scenes and for tone reasons, or at least as a reaction to Batman vs Superman. Because if you look at the chronology of how that all went down, they announced the reshoots within like 2 weeks of Batman, or a week and a half of Batman vs Superman hitting theaters, and everyone immediately speculated, oh, it's because nobody likes Batman vs Superman, so they're making it lighter. But that was a lot of speculation.
They're making it like 30 minutes lighter. They're just gonna cut a bunch of crap out. Now I got to point.
The reality is,
I got to point this out. Our fans on the old Facebook tweet here had just said that they want a rainbow Batman movie. And it's become the talk of the whole conversation now. So
Well, somebody's out. Somebody's
So
gonna make that happen.
I'm pretty sure
eventually.
if they made that third Joe Schumacher Batman movie with the Scarecrow and Howard Stern as cast as him and all that stuff, we might have got a Rainbow Batman for the first time. Like him and Chris O'Donnell might have had to he had to switch to night.
It was certainly on the way.
It was on the way. I'm glad our fans here had pointed that out. Rainbow Batman was definitely on its way.
We never would have gotten nipples on a batsuit had Joel Schumacher not gotten involved.
But I kind of see his point for throwing the nipples on there. He wanted them to look like statues of Greek gods or something. But most of those statues have penises.
Well, then you gotta put the
exactly.
Yeah,
we could have done without the ass shot.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like
the two ass shots.
There's a lot of stuff.
It was not just one ass shot. It was like boom, ass shot. Now Robin's ass shot. Boom.
Well, I'll say this much: they were progressive films.
That's how I get on my costumes all the time, guys. I just put on my costumes like, hoo, hoo.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on from the Batman talk and move on to some more remakes that shouldn't have been made, like this turd.
I didn't even see that.
I liked Red Dawn.
I
like the original.
Okay. I like the original too, but I thought this one was pretty good for what it was.
The reason I didn't like this one,
Swayze
I didn't see
sacred.
it. I can't comment on it. Yeah.
Can we leave Patrick Swayze alone, man? This is.
Well, it's not Patrick Swayze's fault, man. It looks to be Chris Hemsworth. Yep, looks to be his fault.
This shot.
There too.
It sat on the shelves for a number of years, from what I remember. I don't remember why exactly, but it was on the shelves for like 3 years or something like that before they released it.
Here's another.
Well, I mean, you had an enemy who would actually invade us because
you should go to Conan. You should go to Conan from here because John Milius.
Actually, I was going to go to one of your favorite movies of the past couple of years, man. I remember when this movie came out, we actually did a podcast talking about this, and did they drop it down to like just PG levels or what? Because I still haven't seen this movie, and I don't think I plan on it.
There's a common misconception. I mean, Poltergeist was a PG film. Now, it was a pretty hard PG for the time, but it was a PG film.
It pushed the limits, yeah.
It definitely did. I mean, that face tearing scene in the bathroom is classic. I mean, that's an initiation for any kid watching a horror film. But no, the new one was just it was just like that generic modern type of film. There was nothing really that set it apart. It was basically like a lame, tame version of the original, much like RoboCop, much like that other film we discussed a few minutes ago.
Did it have a lot of the scenes from the original, or is it kind of like trying to do its own thing?
No, it definitely was not trying to do its
own. Someone commented, Rollerball. Have we covered that yet? Was there a Rollerball reboot?
There was. John McTiernan did the Rollerball reboot in like early 2000s.
In that?
Really?
Was Dean Cain in that Rollerball? I like that.
No.
He said it was PG before they came up with PG-13. So
it was the American Pie kid, not the main star, Chris Klein. Is that his name? Was he in that? I think it was Chris Klein that was in that film.
Yeah, my phone went dead, so you got to monitor the comments here.
Apparently, Poltergeist was PG before they invented PG-13, so that might explain why.
Poltergeist might be the reason they invented PG-13.
Probably.
Temple of Doom, if you want to be technical.
Speaking of Poltergeist, it looked like Chris got a Poltergeist over that knocked off his Funko.
Yeah.
The Poltergeist is real.
Well, you know the Joker, man. He does what he wants.
What were we segueing into there, Justin?
Rollerball.
I like Rollerball. I'm sorry, but Dean Cain is amazing.
I didn't know the remake of it, to be honest. I saw Dad showed me Rollerball, and he's like, "Hey, watch this movie. It's ridiculous."
That was also Dean Cain from the New Adventures of Lois and Clark, so he was still kind of Superman at that time, or just leaving Superman.
Oh man.
I want to say that was like John McTiernan's last, like, I think that and like the Thomas Crown Affair, and that was the last time anybody. You guys know who he is, right? The Die Hard director. Yeah. That was his film, the Rollerball remake, and Yeah, like
Did not know
he
that.
totally fell off the map. Like, and Rollerball was not well received.
And so did Dean Cain's career after that for the longest time. Like right after
Did you
Rollerball.
just? I'm sorry.
Where'd
Did
it
you
go?
just say Dean Cain and career in the same sentence?
Okay. All right.
You forgot to put failed.
Nobody liked
like
this
they-
Superman. I like this Superman.
There needs to be like a television show with like Jason David Frank and Dean Cain and all the other people that make their living off of the Comic-Con route and nobody actually cares about anymore. I'm sorry, that's like the rudest thing ever. Can we cut that out?
I think we're live.
We're live, dude. We're live. Oops. I mean, 10 people only heard that, but I mean,
that's about to become like 10,000.
Here, let's jump in. Let's jump into something.
He just said, "Fuck Jason David Frank."
This was
jump
great.
into something you like.
This was great.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of really good stuff about this. I mean, when you look at the cast that's involved in this, I mean, Bill Murray, Ben Kingsley. I haven't had a chance to see it yet. I've had a couple people that have seen it. I mean, it kind of that's the kind of stuff that sets you up for success when you're that loaded going into it.
Well, the thing is that is you guys' Jungle Book. But this is my Jungle Book, man. This is my live-action Jungle Book. I don't know if you remember this, but if you remember Mortal Kombat, you remember this guy, dude. And this was my Jungle Book.
Oh, yeah. He was in, he was in Beverly Hills Ninja, too.
That's not the same
guy. Same guy?
What, the guy who was in Mortal Kombat? The guy who played with Kang?
That's the same guy. That's Robin Shaw. This is Jason Scott Lee. These are two different people. Yeah. This guy played Bruce Lee in Dragon.
Exactly. This guy was my idol, dude. I had this Jungle Book back when you had to be kind and rewind, dude. I had that sticker on my VHS, and I remember this was my Jungle Book. So I'm interested in seeing how adding a CGI bear actually fits in with the whole universe, because it even looks from the poster that the kid is CGI. So I'm just curious.
It was fantastic. He was the only live action actor, actually. I think, with the exception of like the few other humans in this movie. But I mean, like if you see the behind the scenes, it's literally just him in this giant room with a green screen and like rolling in dirt or climbing up a fake tree. It was behind the scenes was amazing enough. I mean, this kid was 12 when they filmed this, and he acts beyond his years. Like, I mean, I don't know. I hope that he goes to bigger projects from here. Honestly,
that's got to be hard, man. Like to not have anything to go off of outside of like a green screen
and a fake puppet occasionally to let you know where the bear's head is.
Well, if you're a kid, you could do it. I'd say you have a huge imagination at that age.
I mean, like I said, a huge imagination, and just if you have the chance, go to YouTube, find the behind the scenes footage of this, because it was amazing. The things that this kid was doing and like setups they had.
Ryan,
I was completely blown away by his acting alone.
Yeah.
And then the cast that you had was great. I mean, the voice actors were amazing, and I thought it was awesome. Scarlett Johansson, I think, was in this movie, too.
Mm-hmm. Scarlett Johansson, Ben Kingsley, Idris Elba.
Yep.
I mean, for my timeline of these remakes, dude, what I'm really worried about is most of the major remakes happened in about 81 to 84. So now I'm thinking all of our great movies, like if you look back, 1994 was the year for great movies, man. We had like Lion King, and then I think Shankshaw Redemption.
Yeah.
A bunch of different
You'll
movies
see
like that.
And like Speed and all that get remade soon, sure.
We're going to end up getting a lot of 1994 reboots, and we've probably already put ourselves in the pot for it. They're probably like, oh, yep, they gave us $1 million idea. We don't have to pay them for it. Let's start remaking every movie from 94. Let's start with The Lion King, live action. Jungle Book did great.
It's an existing name. It's not a gamble. I mean, that's the thing. I've talked to people who produce these things, and it's all about the investment and the return. It's not about anything else.
I think a lot of it. Go ahead.
No, I mean that was really the sentiment.
I mean, I think a lot of it goes with the nostalgia. I mean, that's why people are making so much money off of retro consoles and action figures now, is because guys and girls who grew up with this stuff grow up and they want to see it all over again and enjoy that. And so nostalgia sells, man.
Yeah, I mean, it does, but also at the same time, we're kind of, I don't know if this is me dating myself or if this is just me getting a little bit older, but I kind of feel like the nostalgia, I'm almost starting to get out nostalgia'd. Because every 3 seconds I'm having a reboot thrown at me, or like we're on our third incarnation of Spider-Man since I graduated high school.
Yeah, man, I gotta say
like,
that's one character I'm bored of.
I can't never get bored of Spider-Man. Just give me more Spider-Man. Just keep it.
My only complaint is they never finished Amazing Spider-Man 2. It was perfectly set up for the sequel that was going to give us the Sinister Six. Like,
but
I mean,
they totally
it's bad for Garfield. I mean, I didn't like Garfield as Peter Parker at all. I thought he was a pretty good Spider-Man, but I feel bad for the dude. He got dicked out of a lot of money.
Well, I agree with you 100%. I would have loved to see. I would have loved to have seen what the third Amazing Spider-Man would have been. I thought Andrew Garfield did a way better Peter Parker than Tobey Maguire did. Like, Tobey Maguire was kind of like this post-emo hot topic kind of, little Peter Parker, and that's not really what Peter Parker was in like the comic books and the early cartoons and stuff. He wasn't like that nerdy, and I thought Andrew Garfield made it a lot of fun. And also, I mean, you get left with this huge cliffhanger after the end of The Amazing Spider-Man 2 when, spoiler alert, Gwen Stacy dies. And I kind of wanted to see how he was going to recover for that. So I would have been happy if they found some way to bring that Spider-Man into it. I think the new guy is going to do awesome, though. I thought he was probably the best out of the three of them. But I think we all kind of got screwed by not getting the third one.
Personal opinion, I thought that Tobey was a great Peter and a terrible Spider-Man. I thought that Andrew was a terrible Peter and an awesome Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And I think that Tom Holland nailed both of it. And that's the kind of thing where I was the same way. It's just like with Batman. Until Ben Affleck, in my opinion, we've never had a guy who could do both Bruce Wayne and Batman awesome. And I think
I really bought Bale. To be honest with you, I
thought he was, he was okay in both areas, but he didn't sell me.
I disagree on that. I disagree on that because I thought he was a great Batman. The Bruce Wayne part, though, they kind of got away from the Playboy lifestyle of Bruce Wayne
because they didn't ever show anything. They didn't show anything of it. Well, that's the problem. You didn't really get
to see him be Bruce Wayne. You got to see him be Batman without the mask on.
Exactly.
But
I got to see him get dropped in a hole in 3 movies.
Going back to Spider-Man, I think it's a little too soon for a new Spider-Man movie, Homecoming. But it feels like with the people they brought in, I think Robert Downey Jr. is already confirmed, and maybe Chris Evans. So it feels like it's going to be kind of like Spider-Man and Friends.
Well,
all I hear
it's
is
weird to get 2
ensuring box office.
And I think it's going to be even weirder.
I'll go
2 Batman movies. Like, we're going to get a Legos Batman movie, and then we're going to get a Batman movie or a Justice League movie or something, and then we're going to have a Spider-Man movie, and then an animated Spider-Man movie. It's like...
All I'm saying is if they went to an R-rated Deadpool and an R-rated Batman versus Superman, when are they going to give us some Marvel Zombies? Just saying.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes,
Call me.
I'm just stoked that Marissa Tomei is getting more work. I've had a gigantic crush on Marissa Tomei ever since I can remember. So her being the new Aunt May is just absolutely fantastic. You want
Chris? Is it just you?
What?
Was that just you that had that humongous crush on Marissa Tomei? Because I don't know.
Well, I mean,
I feel like it's just you alone and nobody else.
He liked Melissa Tomei back when you had to rewind that VHS.
We got a question from the comments. When are we going to get to the parts talk about the remakes that we want to see?
Interesting. Okay.
You
guys want to like go around the...
Probably as soon as we get done talking about the A-Team.
It's coming. It's coming. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Hey, let's put Bradley Cooper in everything. That's what that it was.
This movie had the potential to be awesome, except for the casting of for B.I. Barkus. That was the one casting that I didn't like. So
Rampage Jackson isn't even that good of a fighter.
No, and he ruined it. He did not have the charisma of Mr.
I think
T
that this movie was... I think this movie was just it tried to reference the old things a lot,
but no milk. They didn't mention no milk. Like Mr. T's one weakness was milk.
I hate flying. No, his weakness is flying, and I love that part. He hates flying.
It's milk.
But I mean, I think they did a okay job of referencing the old show, but as far as like being the A team, I don't know. I'm a little
damn straight, Dylan. Damn straight. You can't replicate Mr. T. He's 100% right on that. No, I watched it. It was okay. Like that's a flu movie. You know, if you've got the flu and there's nothing else for you to watch,
here's where we fight. Here's where we get in the knockdown drag out fight, because I loved 21 Jump Street. I mean,
I did too.
I binge watched like crazy on Hulu when it first popped up, and I was like, "This is great." Until around the 5th season, when Johnny Depp just disappeared for no real reason whatsoever, and then the show kind of did
the movies were good.
But the show pulled a whole Sliders thing where you get rid of what's his name, freaking Jerry O'Connell. As soon as you got rid of Jerry O'Connell from Sliders, that shit went downhill. Like nobody could carry the show like Jerry O'Connell. It's the same way with 21 Jump Street. You get rid of Johnny Depp, you don't have a show. So quit giving me a whole season of it. It's just like 2.5 Men. Nobody wanted Ashton Kutcher for an entire season.
Movie?
What?
Johnny Depp showed up in a few scenes in 21 Jump Street, the movie.
Yeah,
and they were funny too.
He was just speckled throughout the. Yeah, he was speckled throughout the whole movie as like background characters.
Yeah, but if you speckle speckles on top of shit, you still have shit covered with speckles. You know
I liked the movie. I thought it was pretty good.
I want to say something. I never watched the show growing up. And my brother has actually talked about how funny the 21 and 22 Jump Street movies are, and I didn't pay it any lip service because I got a little sick of Jonah Hill about 5 years ago. But I was getting ready to leave the house last night actually, and 22 Jump Street was on, and it was roughly halfway through the movie, and I got stuck. I had to watch the whole thing. Like there were a couple parts that had me laughing my ass off.
They're both funny movies.
Yeah,
Tim Miller and Phil Lord, I believe,
but
are
they're
their
not
names. The
21
directors.
Jump
They're
Street. It should have been like
they're not.
It
They're
should have
spoofs.
been two guys undercover is what the movie should have been called. Two guys undercover.
Ice Cube was one of my favorite parts in this movie too.
Well, now we're getting 21 Jump Street.
Well, that's what the Karate Kid. The Karate Kid should have been. Kid goes over to Japan and learns martial arts.
Karate Boy. They could have called it Karate Boy. Just leave the kid out.
They really screwed up when it stopped being the Karate Kid and it was the Kung Fu Kid. So I mean, like,
I've been in martial arts most of my life. That kind of hated me, and I didn't pick that up. But yeah, that's karate is not just a term for all martial arts.
Remakes we want to see. Let's get to that.
All right, remakes we want to see. Who wants to sound it off?
I am so down with the new Power Rangers movie, and I don't care what anyone thinks about that.
So hype! I love when Rita Repulsa looks.
I was a huge Power Rangers fan as a kid. I worshipped the ground Jason David Frank walked on. Like the guy's. No, seriously. I mean, like as someone that's been.
I think you just saved my life, Chris.
I've been doing this.
Justin's like, I'm out. He's like, I'm
out. No. I got something for him. He's gonna cry. Big fan baby tears.
But no, like watching him from a martial arts standpoint was always like a lot of fun. He had a lot of really good technique. But I loved Power Rangers growing up, and so I was already kind of stoked about it in the beginning. But now that we find out Bryan Cranston's going to be Zordon, like that's a curveball, man. Like I wasn't expecting someone like that to join the cast.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting Bryan Cranston to play Zordon either.
Well,
but I guess we all have to slum it sometime.
Did you ever expect him to have actually done voices on 2 episodes of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers? Like, they have a YouTube video of him voicing the characters. Yeah. And I was like, what? So I had no idea about that.
Okay, that's kind of cool.
I think it's funny.
He's got ties to it.
I checked Paul Schreier's page, and somebody posted, look, another actor that was in the original Power Rangers, and he just put like a sad face on there, and I was like, I don't think they have contacted any of the original Power Rangers to be in a reboot.
I see the smile on your face. I'm ready to see what we got here.
Let's see.
Signed by Jason David Frank.
Oh, dude. That is awesome. It's so one of the coolest things about the Power Rangers at like the cons or whatnot is you will not see Jason David Frank and Austin St. John at the same exact comic book convention because they can't
Austin
stand
St.
each
John.
other.
Yeah,
You know what? I heard
it's
someone
because
say
Austin
that,
St.
but
John is a prick. I'm gonna tell you right now. When I stood in line for
That's
him
what
for
I
an
heard, too.
hour, got to his stand. I said, "Yeah, I just want to say hi to Austin." He's like, "No, you can't say hi to him unless you buy something or you're getting an autograph." I was like, "Nothing." I was like, "No." I was like, "I've been in line for 45 minutes. I can't even say hi." He's like, "Oh, of course you could say hi if you buy something." So I got in a Facebook battle with Austin St. John. I was like, "Your management is a bunch of pricks."
This.
And I was posting it on my Facebook, like, here's Austin St. John and how he applies. Now, Jason David Frank, on the other hand, dude, he's been to the con 3 years out of the 4 years that they've had the con up here, and he's always been cool to me. He'll walk up to me and shake my hand, take a couple of minutes to talk to me, you know.
Yeah, he does seem like a genuinely cool
Jason David Frank was great. I loved meeting Jason David Frank. I was the last person in line. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
I was the last person in line to see him one night. And, you know, most celebrities by that time are just really tired and don't want to be there. But he was not like that at all. Like, when I got in line...
That's because he had 100 of these, dude. Jason David Frank sits around and drinks 100 of these sugar-free, but still, you know he's amped up on something. He's like...
I was just getting an autograph for that comic, and he was just like, and I didn't sign up for a photo op, and he's like, "Hey man, just grab your phone real quick. Where is it?" And I was like, "All right over here." He's like, "Cool, we're gonna take a picture. Come on, you're the last person in line. I don't care." So he was really nice. I mean, great guy. Austin St. John, I didn't have a bad experience with him when I met him. My mom told the most mortifying story to him from my childhood, because I love Power Rangers and my mom knew who he was and was there at the con with me.
Please tell me that your mom told him the story of you pooping your pants in your Power Rangers underwear. Please tell me that's where the story is going.
It wasn't either now.
Ranger underwear. Okay, so my mom's up there, and I'm like, "Oh man, I love Power Rangers as a kid. The red is my favorite color because of the Red Ranger and everything." It's like, "That's really cool." My mom's like, "I remember when he was little, and he'd watch the Power Rangers, and then put his red Power Rangers underwear on his head and run around the house saying, 'I'm Red Ranger.'" And I'm like standing there in front of Austin St. John, like, "Oh my God, Mom, you did not just tell him that." And now everyone knows this story, but oh my God, I was red as the Red Ranger's helmet right there.
Yeah, I don't know if the feud is still going on with them, but yeah, like for a long time, Austin St. John and Jason David Frank. Jason David Frank is like basically said out in public that he wants to fight him. He also wants to fight CM Punk really bad in the U.S.
Yeah, I heard about that.
There is no amount of money I would not pay to see that. Like I just take my money.
About that Austin St. John and Jason David Frank, I was talking to some guy, and he was just like, "I don't know where everyone keeps getting that story from. Like, I worked with Austin St. John on his like team or something. The only reason they've never been at a con together is because Austin was in something in Japan for like 3 years, and he was there, and they could never schedule together or something. I don't know why. That's what I've heard, but I've also heard that story. I've heard the story also that they cannot stand with each other.
Do you think, man, 5 years I've been at a con, and Jason David Frank is at every one of them, except for the one that Austin St. John shows up with?
We're in the same con, but at different sides of it. So could we make a compromise?
I don't know. Well, Guns N' Roses got back together, so you never really know when it comes down to stuff like that.
So enough of the Power Rangers. In on the Power Rangers. Brian, let's kick to you. You seem to be writing down the tally up score for what you want to see as reboots. He's writing it right now. Let's check him out.
He hates Bryan Cranston being in this movie. He hates it. He won't tell you, but he hates it.
He's no longer talking to us, so I guess we'll cut to me. What do I want to see in a remake?
Wait, what
wait a minute. Let's go back. We got word from Brian.
You were talking about Buffy the Vampire Slayer like 25 minutes ago. We can't talk about the Power Rangers? It's my life.
No, because Bryan Cranston in it, man. That's why.
All right, Brian. You tell us what remake you're most excited about or you want to see.
Maniac Cop.
Is that ever going to happen?
Yeah, no, it actually is happening with I think Nicholas Winding Refn. Who's the guy that directed Drive? That dude.
Ah, that dude.
Yeah.
Justin,
Yeah,
did you
he's
go
doing.
yet?
No, I haven't gone yet.
Okay. Well, Brian's got to wrap it up.
I got to wrap it up. Okay.
No.
Here's the rule. Here's the rules for remakes. It's real simple. If there's a huge enough generational gap where there's enough time between the original and the new one, and you want to introduce it to, and it's so technologically inferior that you can't, it's special effects reliant or whatever, that you can't show it to your kids, remakes make sense in that regard. I can understand that. Remakes also make sense when the original film had a lot of potential and didn't reach that potential, and yet still has a cult following or a name, and there's an opportunity to do something better than the original. Which let's face it, there's a lot of movies like that. But what you shouldn't do is remake a movie that's pretty much perfect the way it is. You shouldn't. It doesn't make like The Crow. That's going to be a hard one to top. I'm not saying they can't make it better. I'm just, that's a really hard one to top because of how much, I guess, awareness from society is fed into that film. The whole, the death of Brandon Lee and sort of, that's a film that speaks more than just the sum of its parts.
Chris, I just realized something, dude. I'm mind blown right now. Not only did the Crow Wicked Prayer have Buffy ties, but it also had Terminator ties in it. So that means to me that Brian liked The Crow Wicked Prayer because it had Edward Furlong and David Boreanaz.
It was a horrible film. It was a horrible movie. Don't even try to peg that on me.
I mean, City of Angels wasn't any good. Like City of Angels wasn't good. I mean, that's a classic example of a movie that just don't make a sequel to it. Just don't. Like Top Gun. Top Gun does not need a sequel. No one in this world that liked that movie.
Nope.
We just leave it be. Leave it be. Roadhouse 2 didn't happen. Did it happen? I don't think it happened.
I think the remake is happening.
Well, no, they're remaking it, but like
it's gonna be a TV series.
They made a Roadhouse 2, and I was actually going to review that on one of the comic book jerk reviews because it.
They did. That's right.
Yes, it follows his son, which is a cop that goes to a bar. Apparently, he died a long time ago in a bar fight, so now it's his son taking over the role. It's really terrible. It's got. It's got that crazy dude from the Fire TV commercials with the big teeth. His son in it.
Gary Busey?
It's got
Jake Busey.
Yeah, it's got Jake Busey in it, and he plays the villain.
Who is in Starship Troopers?
Yes.
Which shouldn't be touched.
No.
Shouldn't be touched.
No, unless you get the original cast and make it.
Okay, here's the problem with Starship Troopers. I'm going to make this real simple. All right. If you've read the book, you'll understand that the book and the film are actually two completely different viewpoints on the same subject, on the same material. One is pro-fascist, the book. One is against fascism and spoofs and skewers that whole kind of society and government and all that stuff. And the problem is if they remake Starship Troopers according to the book, which is what they're saying they're going to be doing, they're making a movie that is going to be, literally pro-fascist and all this stuff that the far left is going to freak the hell out about, which is ironic because when the original Starship Troopers came out, everybody thought that it was a fascist film. They didn't realize there was subtext in there,
just like
and they
Battlefield
labeled
Earth.
it not.
It followed the book.
Well, that's definitely the one thing that it has in common with Battlefield Earth.
Did you guys watch the Starship Troopers cartoon that came on a little bit after that? Like they actually,
I may have seen one.
It was one of those syndicated cartoons. Like it was never on the same channel twice, and it was always on at like 6 o'clock in the morning to 7 o'clock sometime on different channels. Like it was really odd. How many?
No, it's another Paul Verhoeven film. You cannot remake Paul Verhoeven films the same way you probably can't remake David Cronenberg films. They're so identified, they're so marked by their directors that you're not really remaking the film. You're trying to remake what that director brought, and you can't do that. That's why those films don't work.
That's true. How many Starship Trooper sequels did they make? Was there 3? I thought they made a couple of sequels.
There were 2. There were 2 live action films and 1 CGI film that came out like a couple of years ago. That was actually still canonical with the live action series.
Was the CGI film tied in with the cartoon? I seem to think.
No, it was tied in with the films. It was tied in with the films. They brought back Casper Van Dien, as a CGI version of himself, but it was part of the same universe. And for what it wasn't terrible. It was actually by the Sony Animation Studio that did, if you guys remember, Final Fantasies: The Spirits Within. Remember that was like really supposed to be like the biggest. Yeah. It was supposed to be like the best CGI you've ever seen back in the day. They were claiming that it was photoreal, that you couldn't tell the difference between humans and their CG characters, but same animation studio behind both films.
So reboots, Justin, you're up. Reboots, remakes. What are you most excited to see?
For a while before the Hunger Games came out, I actually was wanting them to make a Running Man movie again.
Yeah, that might. Yeah.
But the thing is, now we've got the Hunger Games, so everyone would be sitting there saying, "Well, this is just a ripoff of the Hunger Games."
They would. That's the shitty thing.
Yeah.
That's the part that just makes me angry about it, because I love the Running Man, and I thought that'd be a great reboot.
It's kind of like I feel like the Maze Runner is like a distant relative to that same genre in a way, because it's somewhat set in the same universe almost.
Dystopia, future. This is gonna sound really silly when I say it, but Casper, I would like a new movie of that. Those were some funny movies when I was a kid.
I think they tried that and it didn't work out too well.
They weren't that good, but
no, I could see that.
They tried to reboot Richie.
You're definitely not going to piss anybody.
We could use a new Ghost Rider. We could definitely use a new Ghost Rider. Not with Nicolas Cage.
Not with Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, you know what? I would love to see more horror comic book films, but that's totally different subject.
I want to see the new Voltron, and I really, really wish they would go forward with another Tron. Like I liked.
I agree with that.
I like Tron on my list a lot.
I think that if Power Rangers does well, they might say, well, Voltron might do well, because, giant robots, team force kind of thing.
Well, apparently...
Yeah, but then Voltron's going to be, like, following in Power Rangers' footsteps.
Yeah, they're going to be like, they're just ripping off Power Rangers.
Which is just so painful.
If you have that, if you have, like, Power Rangers and Voltron, like, two kind of, sides of the same coin, I don't know if anyone remembers this movie from back in, I think it was the late 80s, called Robot Jocks.
Oh yeah, I remember Robot Jocks. Are you kidding me?
That is a movie. Like when I see Pacific Rim, that's kind of what I see when I watch it. Which, by the way, I really want another Pacific Rim badly, even as bad as the movie was.
We'll get it. We'll get it. It wasn't bad. It was fun.
I think Robot Jocks would be. Huh?
No, I was going to say Pacific Rim wasn't bad. It was horribly performed. There were some terrible acting jobs on display there, but the film was good fun.
Oh, I thought it was great. So it's been kind of holed up a little bit. Like Guillermo del Toro hasn't said what. Like, apparently, it's like the studio side that's holding it up. I think they'll come around on it. But I really think Robot Jocks, as little known as a movie as that is, I always liked the concept of it. And I was a big Meg Warrior fan growing up. Any of you guys ever play Meg Warrior back in the day?
Yeah. Played Meg Warrior 2 a lot.
So to see it not acted out, that's one of my favorite things. Like video games getting in, like video games getting made into movies. That's something I really want to see a little bit more of. Like,
I want to see a
Titanfall kind of sucks
movie.
How bad the Warcraft.
Assassin's Creed is looking pretty good.
Assassin's Creed is looking pretty good.
I'm actually very interested in that, and I like how they're doing the Animus. I really like that whole. Yeah,
the arm.
Kind of like. Yeah, and I thought that was pretty cool because it shows, that whole... They're kind of bridging that gap where in, like, Assassin's Creed 2 you learn that he's slowly learning those skills in the real world. They're trickling into his real-world skills, so maybe that'll kind of play into it. And I think that's pretty... I think it's a great concept, and I think that the as far as the costume design and what we're seeing from the trailers, it looks immaculate. So,
well, it's Fassbender, right?
Yes.
Oh, then we're good. We're good. Yeah. That's gonna be awesome. A new Mortal Kombat would be pretty neat too.
Yeah.
But
that would be good.
I would really like them to think about Halo. That's
they
personal.
attempted to do a Halo movie, didn't they?
They did.
Peter Jackson was behind it for a while, and that they actually Neil Blomkamp of District 9. So
that would be a great director for that.
But then I think they went to a lot of CGI. There's been a lot of CGI films that are pretty good about it, and they did half CGI, half real live action of I forget what it's called, Upward Bound or something like that. It was about like the students in this academy. ODSD Academy or something like that.
Yeah. I heard of that.
That was all right, but I mean,
I think the remake that I want to see like happen soon is an actual Resident Evil movie starring the actual cast of Resident Evil, like Chris Redfield or Leon or somebody.
Boom. I'm going to 100% get behind that. They need to do a Resident Evil 1 movie. The Mansion, the one that got us all hooked, the one everyone remembers as a collective sort of consciousness. We all remember Resident Evil 1, our generation.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, 2 is very memorable too, but, you know, the whole city thing we've seen in a million other movies. The Mansion is just so iconic, and not for nothing, but those movies... I mean, honestly, the first one was good fun. The second one, you know, and it just the rest of them were just complete crap.
They made like 8.
It's the longest run. I think it's the longest running theatrical horror series ever. It's into like 6 or 7 or 8 or something like that.
Yeah.
Going back to what you said with the horror hero genre, I really hope Spawn gets greenlit. Spawn. Yeah. I hope that gets greenlit and actually done well this time. I mean. The old one was
garbage.
Oh yeah,
it had its moments. Like John.
It had its moments.
John Leguizamo was a really good casting. I thought he did. I thought he did great. Spawn was actually the first comic that I ever owned the number 1 episode of, or the number 1 issue of.
I think I'm excited. I'm excited. I hope that gets greenlit and it's actually a lot better.
I hope they do a Dead Space
I'm really
movie,
excited for Samurai Jack coming back.
What's that?
Yeah, that'd be cool. Have you watched the Dead Space animated feature? Like, I've never been scared.
Yes, I have.
I've never been scared by an animated film before, but that was truly the first thing that actually startled me and kind of like, yeah, I think I should probably turn the lights on now. So if they would transition that same crap that they did with the first cartoon, the second one not so much, but the first one. Like, you actually got invested and kind of creeped out by that stuff. Like, it was like Aliens times 3.
Dead Space would make for a very good and definitely a very marketable video game movie.
You don't even have to be a video game fan to like Dead Space.
Yeah, because it's essentially zombies and shit in space. So I mean,
yeah, pretty much.
I'm surprised nobody's latched on to rebooting Double Dragon or any of the old school games. I guess where they have
that would be cool.
Like re-release, they need to re-release a new Double Dragon where you can actually do some split screen co-op or do something. They don't make games like that anymore.
I think they did.
Did they?
Yeah, I think they put out a decent Double Dragon kind of remake a couple of years ago. It was well reviewed, but I don't know how you would do that movie because like to do it right, it would be such a niche movie.
My Double Dragon movie was Double Impact with Van Damme. That was Double Dragon to me when I was growing up. It wasn't the crazy. The two charms
I enjoy
together.
That movie. It's a piece of shit, but I like it.
It is, but I don't know, man.
I think Street Fighter could get another shot. I think Mortal Kombat could get another shot. Mortal Kombat is great in that nostalgic kind of way.
I know it's the best out of any of them so far.
Yeah, but it's a terrible movie, but it's an enjoyable terrible movie.
I like the first one. I thought it was it's one of those movies that's where you watch it, it's so bad it's good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. For a Street Fighter film, that fan made Street Fighter film that's on Hulu right now. I enjoyed it.
Nah.
It was laid back and kind of episodic.
But it really put me to sleep.
Yeah. But the sequel to that's got a lot more action in it. Like they had
the marketing for the Street Fighter film was hilarious because literally they just took G.I. Joe characters and repainted them and repainted all the action figures to be Street Fighter. No, I'm not even joking. If you look at these things, like that, you can put there's this one with like this big Jeep with a rocket on it, and you can put the G.I. Joe and the Street Fighter like side by side, and it's just a repaint. It's kind of hilarious how lazy the marketing got. They were like, well, we own the rights to these and we own the rights to these. Let's just save some money.
Yeah, you could redo Street Fighter. You could bring in Taylor Lautner as Ryu or something like that. Yeah, you wouldn't allow people to know this.
Some things just are not meant to make the transition. You know, some things just aren't. Like Street Fighter, again, to do that film right, you know, if it was done properly, it would be a joke to 90% of the people out there. To the 10% that it was meant for, it would hit perfectly. But that's what the internet and YouTube is for. Because, like, the truth is, you look at that YouTube series and that second season you're talking about, I've seen clips, I've seen their behind the scenes, and I think the production design and value is just as silly looking as the first season. Well, when you put a guy in a blonde wig like that and, like, that bright red gi and everything, it's like, come on, bro, it looks retarded.
But it took me back to those 80s movies, though. Like, for the Street Fighter fan film, it kind of felt like I'm watching, like, what would be if Karate Kid if it was still going on or something. Like, especially whenever
it had an 80s vibe. I'll give you that.
When his trainer brings him a Nintendo and then they just go and play Nintendo for like 10-15 minutes, I was like this show is going nowhere. But I like that nostalgic value. I like the direction they're going. I like the makeupping and stuff like that. Could have been better. They could have like compressed it a lot and made it shorter, cut a lot of crap out. But
yeah, I'm not
overall,
trying to hate.
I actually think we might.
I'm about to get a lot of crap for what I'm about to say, but Super Mario Brothers.
You liked it?
No, I hated it. No one liked that movie. But do you think they could reboot it to get a movie out of it?
What could you do with Super Mario Brothers?
This goes back to what we were discussing earlier. It goes back to what we were discussing earlier when we were talking about like the companies getting in between the directors. If you watch an interview with the directors of the, I think they were like a husband and wife who
they were the ones that behind Max Headroom. The remember the talking head guy on MTV. Yeah. So they were behind that character. Yeah.
Well, they had a totally different vision. It was never meant to be hokey or kind of like funny and.
Yeah, they were going for like Mario meets Blade Runner.
Yeah, they exactly were. And then that's when I think Disney bought the rights to Nintendo's franchises, and then they saw, all right, what do you got going on in this movie? And they're like, well, it's kind of like a dystopian version of the dystopian world. They're like, no, we're gonna go back and rewrite this, and eventually a lot of the getting redrafted every week. And so, I mean, I think that if you tried again and had the right people making this movie, you could get away with it.
Hey guys, I don't think we're on anymore.
Are we not on anymore?
I think we might have dropped.
Yep.
It's
live.
Yeah. Wow, how long have you been talking?
I think it might have dropped. I think it might have dropped right around we were talking about Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, I think probably about 10 minutes ago. Maybe 5 minutes ago.
Well, I guess we will wrap up the show then, guys.
Can see.
Try to pull it up.
Do you want to go back or?
Tippity type.
Okay. What?
What? Monkeys is what?
Well, so you got some like appropriate or funny clip to like throw here to make this really interesting?
Not really. I did I did have a little kiss from the rose, but now I don't have that. So, but what I can do is go ahead and kick that music, and we could talk over it like we normally do. Saying bye to everybody.
Good talk.
trolls. Don't
Bye,
adjust
everybody.
your keyboard.
Good
You're
stuff
about to
later,
watch
guys.
the
All right,
Comic Book
Doc.
Jerk Show.
From the flamers and dudes who were trolling the fans and
Good stuff, guys. Talk soon.
Alright.
Yep, that's all I got. Had a blast.
And he was complaining about those movies
Yep,
starring Christian
peace.
Bale. Anime's manga mastermind returned again to reboot his new show with all his geeky friends. Like the difference in Wookiees and Tribbles and Kibbles and Bits. The story comes together like a reductor twist from Harry Potter. Or maybe it's worse, you might even curse the jerk for reminding you that everything's worse. In the back of your mind he says what you never could and you never should and you never would, but he could.
I
So
think I'm
listen
back.
up, troll, and let's go. It's time to sit back and watch a comic book jerk show.